7 on the early bird show.
And what a great sort of a day it's going to be. Sunset, sunrise.
So what voice levels? Okay, well I'll be talking about this sort of level, and is the microphone a bit low, or should I be moving it up a wee bit? Like that, okay, okay.
It is love. Radio I.
Yeah, anyway, that's a double figure. $405.13.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
Tēnā koutou, 7 o'clock on Good Morning New Zealand. Time for Morning Report with Geoff Robinson and Maggie Barry. In the programme today, South Africa releases 150 detained churchgoers as the Archbishop of Canterbury's special envoy slams the state of emergency.
Time is running out for 2 condemned Australians on Malaysia's death row.
Company receivers are encountering increasing dishonesty as they go about their duties.
And in sport, the coach of the new All Black team fears the French loss to Australia will make them even harder to beat on Saturday.
Peter Fry now with the news.
Good morning. The Archbishop of Canterbury's special...
Morning Report has a regular listening audience of something like 250,000 every day. They're a very loyal audience. They listen right through the whole program. They're people who are news junkies. They're people who will have listened to the 6:30 news the night before on television, the Eyewitness News, Checkpoint, all those programs. Then they wake up to listen to Morning Report to see what's happened overnight. They're a very influential audience. From the cabinet down, members of parliament, decision makers generally throughout the country, senior civil servants, the lot. Those are the people who take a keen interest in news because it affects a lot of what they do, and so they really need to know what's going on.
And the World Cup news, all bad for some, poor Geoff, alas.
Geoff Robinson and Maggie Barry are the people the politicians listen to. Their voices are instantly recognised. Robinson has been with the programme for a decade, starting when Morning Report started in 1975. Barry started in February this year. Their days start early. 5 o'clock, they're in the office, joining a team which has been working through the night.
I mean, it's the only national newspaper, if you like, that we've actually got in the whole country. Every day it gives you the whole country's news as far as we can, and the international news. It's all there, neatly encapsulated in 1 hour, and the fact that we've got a very loyal listenership, I think, makes that point. People want to know what's going on right around the place, and Morning Report gives them that.
I don't think a lot of people realise quite the work that goes on behind the scenes, because the good thing about being a corporation, some say the only good thing, is that you can draw on resources from around the country, and we have reporters in Oamaru and Invercargill going up to Whangarei who also supply us with material that they work long and hard on to get the essence of it.
Some reporters, especially on provincial stations, are jack of all trades, covering any story that comes along. Others specialise, everything from agriculture to economics. Typical is Carol Greensmith, who covers the important Maori affairs round, based in Auckland but with responsibility for the whole country.
How long have you been, president of the Maori Council of Churches?
Oh, since February this year.
Been involved with them long before that?
About 3 years previous to that. A very active member of, in general, Maori church work.
Most material finishes up in Radio New Zealand's national newsroom in Wellington, source of all network news and Morning Report. Nationwide, Radio New Zealand has some 150 journalists, news, current affairs, sport and rural. It's the largest news-gathering organisation in the country.
The new minister starts next month. His stipend will be paid by the combined...
Morning Report is very much a flagship programme for Radio New Zealand, and while it's people like Geoff Robinson and his fellow presenters who are publicly identified as the captains of the ship, their backup is considerable.
The Business Woman of the Year in Wellington, Grant Williams, is going to cover that.
Every day brings a number of editorial meetings as senior staff discuss story proposals and assign the work that'll be heard tomorrow morning.
Press briefing this afternoon on the international expansion plans. Right. At 4:30 in the NZ Centre.
Francis is going to that, so if you want, we can give you the audio if he doesn't want to go to it.
Yeah, that would be good actually, that would be a big help.
Yeah.
If I go back to when we started Morning Report, which was back in 1975, we made a conscious decision then that we would get away from the old BBC style of reading news and started to talk material, talking to 2 people rather than addressing them. And that, I think, is the single biggest influence that goes to make it that. We're talking to people at home as they're having their shower, having their breakfast, bathing the kids, whatever they're doing. and letting them, from time to time, eavesdrop on conversations which we're having either in the asides, which we occasionally indulge in, or in an interview. When you're on air, you're live, and I think that's one of the other key things about the whole program, whether we're talking about Morning Report or the whole 3 hours of Good Morning New Zealand. The fact is that things are happening live, which give an extra something. And I think listeners can detect that there's a difference between a recorded piece and that little bit of extra urgency that's going on because it's live, and will I think of what the next question is, and what on earth can I say in response to that? Which must come into, I know it comes into my mind, I'm sure it comes into my voice. The other way, I suppose, of stopping it is to make sure there are alternative products available. What do people use whales for, other than food in Japan?
There are alternative products available for every product of the whale. It's not by any means essential.
A new format this year saw the introduction of Good Morning New Zealand. From 6 to 9 each weekday morning, the program centres on the topical. But it's the concentrated hour of Morning Report that draws most listeners.
Thank you very much.
Did I go on a bit too
No,
long?
you didn't. That was
Sorry,
fascinating.
I took too much time.
No, I enjoy that. You know, and I would work on a basis if I find it interesting. I hope the listeners do too. So happy to keep talking. So, no, thank you for coming in. Okay. See you again. See you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I see Good Morning New Zealand as incorporating Morning Report. Between 6 and 7 we point ahead to news stories, some of the items that are coming up later on, and then after Morning Report we expand further on some of the stories that have been perhaps highlighted either in the news bulletins or in Morning Report, and can talk about them in a little more depth. So I see it very much fitting into the whole 3-hour pattern of the Good Morning New Zealand program.
A radio studio is not large. Spending hours on end together in a small windowless room could cause problems if there were any personality clashes between the presenters. But Robinson and Barry work well together. They like each other.
Oh, I think so.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, we do.
Hasn't hit me over the head with anything yet. Yes, I think that's one of the other keys. It's the funny chemistry thing in the studio, isn't it? If you don't like or don't get on with the person you work with, it shows. You can have a formal, professional relationship, but that's not what radio is. It's a much more intimate medium than that.
And we both enjoy the work that we do, which I think is important. If you had someone that, for instance, wasn't a morning person, who came in ratty in the mornings or was a prima donna, it would be really difficult. And I'm pleased to say Geoff is neither of those.
Well, it's because I walk in, you see, that makes all the difference. So when you've walked in for 20 minutes on your own, peaceful and quiet, it's very hard to be ratty after that.
A humorous story that's just come through on the wire service, actually, that I thought was rather amusing. Louise, the world's only drug-sniffing police pig, has not only been let back into the force, she's also been promoted. West German police authorities say Louise's looming sentence to the bacon factory was repealed after opposition Greens Party rushed to her defence. Louise, who'd proved vastly superior to German shepherd dogs in finding hidden drugs, was suspended when the police ministry decided that she was bad for the force's image. Now she's to be used for drug swoops across the whole of Lower Saxony, but the ministry has rejected a Greens Party suggestion that Louise and a lot more pigs should replace dogs for crowd control duty.
There's got to be a moral in that somewhere.
There must be. We won't speculate on it at too much length, though.